How are you guys doing today? If you are ready for more Feng Shui, type a 1 in the chat right now. Nice. Thank you so much for joining me again for day 2 live stream of the behind the scene filming of Feng Shui Life Force Energy Training Program. I hope you guys are having fun so far. And thank you for leaving your big takeaways from yesterday's program on Facebook. I've read through all of them, and also on Telegram as well. I've read through a lot of comments, and I picked up a couple of questions here which I will be answering. All right. Thank you. All right. So now, important is keep checking the chat, right? That's where we're going to talk to each other and see the questions, and also you can chat on Telegram as well. There is a dedicated channel, as you know, that for us to discuss some of these, for our instructors to answer some questions if you guys have from watching this program. Now, some of you still did not realize that I'm actually recording an actual training program. I just want to re-emphasize this, guys. How many of you know that I'm actually recording an actual training program while inviting you guys here from my tribe here to watch the recording? Okay, so when you're watching the recording, I need you all to understand. Firstly, there are no notes because when the actual product is ready at the end, then there will be notes. Right now, even though I say that there are notes, but there are no notes because it's not done yet. Okay, the entire team needs to go on to take the videos to post-production, and then they will actually do the edits, and then I will have to film additional contents where things are missing out, or certain parts are not very clear. That's usually post-production, and that's when they write the notes, prepare the charts, and write the theories as well. Okay, so that's so you know. And I see some of the main questions you guys have is still asking about the software. The software, as you know, it's not ready for this time, because yes, the ones that I'm using here is a beta version that I use just to work on the slides for the time being. Okay, when the course is launched, that's when the software will be fully ready and functional. Right now, I'm just testing it. Okay, just testing it. So guys, you gotta understand. And also, I said this on Telegram and also through some of the emails that you guys already received. Your role is the fly on the wall. If you don't like fly, you can say it's a butterfly on the wall, where you are just here watching me film. So you're listening to how me and my team right now, we are recording this whole program here. So the Q&As that we are doing here is an additional value add for you guys, because you guys are in the tribe. But otherwise, you are a fly on the wall watching the unfolding, the recording of this event that we are going to launch. If you're interested in this, do support us. It's going to be $1997 for the full training. And yes, of course, it will have all the notes and all the that comes with the training materials, the charts, etc., the background information, everything. Okay, so by then, the timing should be around mid-year. We are aiming for mid-year launch. Okay. All right, so remember to join the Telegram. Now, before I go on to the questions that I've picked up from you guys, let me just have a quick recap of day 1. Yesterday, we filmed all this. We filmed talking about the evolution of Feng Shui as a macro art and micro system. We talk about the 3 biggest questions for beginners when they begin their study and practice of Feng Shui. We talk about the 5 problems and restrictions of using Feng Shui in this this current era. Then I explain about the concept of the invisible forces that govern our life. The 9 stages of life force energy. How would you feel if it's at the highest level? How would you be like if it's at the lowest level? We went quite extensive on the life palace, where it all begins. We always start with identifying the life palace and what is inside, outside, or what is placed in there, how it influences someone's identity and beliefs. Then I talked about leveraging the power of noblemen, your personalized nobleman. I talked about activating your Tai Chi nobleman. That is your very special spiritual powers and or sixth sense, your ability to tap into the divine is also the Tai Chi nobleman. Okay, that was yesterday. We also did a lot of additional footage yesterday. I know it was late, but we have to do something just in case I forget. Usually we have to do some roundup of, some of this. When we film, if I take like 2-3 months later and then do the refilm, then there'll be parts that I forget. So that's normally how a production is. It's time consuming. A lot of work goes behind the scenes. And I'm glad you guys are here and able to watch how I'm doing it. So right now I'm talking to you guys. Later on when I start filming the modules, then I'll just treat it like natural modules, going through the same camera right now. We have a few other cameras right here that are actually recording it at the same time. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go through the questions. You guys okay? Yeah? How many of you great today? This evening, all right? Type 1 if you guys feel fantastic. All right, okay, so I'm going to take it slow because I'm still recording the program. And if you have questions, go ahead and post it on the chat. I'll try my best to answer some during, in between modules. Okay, let me answer this one. This is from Kim. Okay, this is from Kim. If cannot use the whole house, can I use the room for my identity palace? This is from Kim. All right, Kim. The answer is yes. That's called small Tai Chi. Small Tai Chi means you are using the replica of the entire house energy in a smaller space. So you just divide the room into its directions using the compass. And yes, you can use the identity palace of the room. Of course, it is much better if you can do the whole house. But you can start with the room if you have restricted access to the whole house. Okay? All right, this is from Xin Yi. My husband has been depressed. My husband has been depressed for half a year. What is the best way to change his life force energy with Feng Shui? Okay. Well, so many ways I think you could actually do, but one of the starting points is to look at what is currently influencing his life palace, or meaning the identity palace right now. Okay. Later on, I think probably today or tomorrow there will be a few modules where we're going to talk about what overlaps another chart. It's called the flying star chart or energy map that we overlap over the house, so we know what star combinations are affecting that particular palace. Then you can initiate some balancing elements to balance the obviously the conflict of element that caused him to have a very restricted identity or beliefs that actually cause the depression right now. Okay, so again, that can help energetically. It won't be an instant cure, but it helps. It helps a lot by readjusting the identity palace, because that identity palace actually represents how he would see himself. And obviously there are a lot of thinkings that are pretty negative that's happening, that's causing him to obviously feel very depressed about himself. That could also be a visiting element or energy that is, that needs rectification and nullifying. Okay, we'll talk about that. All right. So stay tuned. Possibly maybe today or tomorrow we'll reach to that topic. I've planned a lot of topics I want to film. It's just that firstly time. You guys gotta stay until very late. I don't really know how long we'll take. That's because the thing is, if I say 2 hours and I go beyond 2 hours, you're going to say, I'm not on time. If I say 4 hours but I don't finish 4 hours, you think you get shortchanged. So it's very hard for me to tell you the exact time I'm completing this filming. Like yesterday, because it was quite late, and so we have to end it, right? So how many of you guys have a lot of time to watch? Okay. Now I know a lot of people are asking for replays. If you would like the replay, please buy the course. Okay, that's the whole purpose of us doing up it nicely and design it nicely as a final product. Support us, okay? That would be great, right? We need all the support from you guys, from tribe members. So we are filming this. That's why we don't have a replay, all right? So if we have a replay in the form of a final product, I hope you guys can support us then, all right? Or learn as much as you want right now as a fly on the wall, all right? So flies don't get to ask questions, so all right. So here, next question is Maya. Can I enhance the identity palace by putting any Feng Shui enhancers? This is a yes and no. The most generic way that normally people would use to enhance feng shui is based on the bagua. So let's say your identity palace is the south. Strengthening the south with fire element is one of the most basic and elemental, as in elementary way of starting feng shui. But because there is a different layer called the Xuan Kong flying stars on top of the house, normally if you need to have an enhancer or a mitigator in feng shui, we would position the element based on what are the visiting stars that are inside that particular palace. So we don't go by the base element, but more by the visiting stars, because those elements are more apparent. So it's a yes and no at this point in time. And also, not all identity palaces need enhancing. Sometimes they need to be de-enhanced, or what do you call it, weakened a little bit because it's too strong. The person might be too stubborn and too hard-headed. So it's not always strengthening, is not always the key. It's about, the right balance. All right. Chang Yi or Chang is asking this question: are there any difference between my identity palace and someone else's? Yes, there is a difference, because firstly, your identity palace might be in the east and mine might be in the west, and hers might be in southwest and his might be in southeast. As when they are in different areas, they already have base level different trigram, different elements or stars. And the visiting stars that are inside, let's say the southeast and the east and the west and on the southwest, the components, the ingredients, it's also different. So yes, there is a huge difference with your identity palace and my identity palace. Okay, so how do we know what the difference is? As you will be looking, I'll be filming a module that talks about overlaying the flying stars. And once you understand overlaying the flying stars, then you know what is the content in that identity palace. Right now, what we discussed earlier on as the starting of the program is just to, basically know what is physically observed in that area. What you haven't studied is what the invisible forces that are on that area. Okay, H. Malik, I'm a little lost. Nobleman is for when I look for healers, doctors, mentors, but what about Tai Chi nobleman? What's the difference between the two? The difference between nobleman is helpful people, superiors, someone to help you, guide you, teach you, and all that, right? Mentors, that's right. But Tai Chi nobleman, it's a spiritual power or connection or a gift. You could call it your personal gifts or divine gifts. It's like a divine guardian. So anyone who's had Tai Chi nobleman inside their Bazi chart, in their destiny chart, if you're born with the Tai Chi nobleman, you will be pretty good at least one or two metaphysics subject. You are gifted in it if you use it, of course. All right. So now I've seen people with 3 Tai Chi noblemen. I personally have 2 Tai Chi noblemen in my chart. So this is what I do. Right. So you can see that. Now, if you don't have it, activate it in your house. Activate in your house, and you will also get the effect. Right. So everybody can activate their Tai Chi nobleman. That's the difference between the two. Yonghan, will the final product include notes and theories? Yes, they do. Okay, the notes and the explanations per module will be done post-production, not now. CJ Lim, can Feng Shui help me solve problems with my superior work? How? Then you need to deploy the 8 sectors, these 8 sectors, as you will learn in some of the modules today that I'm filming, in your work environment. Okay, from there, where you are in relation to your boss, could be, you learn today whether that person is in the 5 ghost direction, 6 killing direction, life-threatening direction. So that actually tells you the relationship between you and that individual. So if you reposition your position, right, move yourself around, that's one of the easiest way, or just turn yourself around, sit yourself differently in the meeting room while in discussion, that changes the dynamics, okay? So yes, that's how it is done, by repositioning yourself a little bit. You can't move your boss, but you can be mobile. Ron W says, do I use my local time or China's time to plot my chart? Local time, wherever you are born, to plot your personal chart. Okay, always local time. Keith is asking, if my identity palace is in garage outside my house, can I use it maybe for meditation as an open area? Listen, if it's a garage, it's inconvenient, you don't have to use it. Use the small Tai Chi, use it in your room. Your room can be 8 directions as well, okay? And Jaina's asking this question. I missed the earlier session because I forgot about the training. Is there a replay? There is a paid product at the end when I finish this product, you can buy the product, okay? Support us. Then you can watch it as many times as you want. All right. Li Lian Key is asking, I've been working from home since 2020 and it's been very challenging. My dining table is also my office during this time. My question is, this is now sitting in the 6 Killings Palace. Should I move the table itself to the Identity Palace instead? No, you don't. You don't have to move the table. You just have to understand what is the usage of 6 killings, which I will explain in one of the modules today. Connie is asking this question. My husband doesn't believe in Feng Shui. How should I convince him? Listen, we are not in the business of convincing people. You do this because you want to help yourself and help other people. Okay? When people ask me, convince me, I don't need to convince you. If you need help, you look for me. Okay? If you're into convincing, the best way you want to inspire someone is you be the agent of change. So you use Feng Shui for yourself and you improve. When you improve, when you get the results, you will be the best example and testament to Feng Shui working. So you improve yourself. That's how you should, if you really want to convince someone with Feng Shui. Okay. All right. So that was the questions. Okay. So just to recap our goals again for you guys as the fly on the wall, what we are doing here. Number one, you are watching me film Feng Shui Life Force Energy. The goal of the remaining 3 days today and the next until the third day, because we did 1 day yesterday. Learning all this, even as just a fly on the wall watching this, you can learn to use Feng Shui to attract more opportunities and wealth and abundance into your life if you follow the very simple practice over your house or over your room. And learn to repel or mitigate negative energy, negative people, or even occurrences that are recurring all the time that's not good in your life. And number three, by using the correct Feng Shui principles here, Feng Shui applications, simple, you can reach your goals faster and create everlasting changes and live your best life. That's the goal here, okay? Now, I just want you to understand that Feng Shui Life Force Energy, the program, is created for, number one, people who've never used Feng Shui before. Okay, if you've never used Feng Shui before, this is a good starting point. And number two, people who know some Feng Shui, practice it, but is unsure and not really seeing any big results. That's because you're combining too many different types of Feng Shui and hearsay, all right? Feng Shui and hearsay doesn't go well with each other, okay? Because a lot of things are not Feng Shui, okay? So at least now you know what to do correctly. Number three, it's for Feng Shui practitioners who want to take their results to the next level, okay, by practicing what we call micro level of Feng Shui. Macro Feng Shui includes landforms. Macro Feng Shui includes landforms and environment. Some people are saying my voice is a bit coarse today. Yeah, that's because I've been filming non-stop and talking to you guys, all right? But it's okay, I can still talk. I hope, as long as you can hear me, right? As long as you can hear me. Now, I see some people saying, the video's a bit laggy and all that. I think I can't help you with that. That's your internet line. On our side, it's full bar over here. So we are broadcasting this pretty okay right now, okay? And sometimes just click refresh will help you, okay? So I would appreciate if you stop each other from saying, I can't see, it's a bit laggy, blah, 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 blah. I am not an internet guy. The one thing that Feng Shui cannot do is make your internet line faster. Really, okay? So I can't do that, all right? So, but maybe it's a sign from the heavens to tell you to buy the program at the end. I don't know. All right, I'm just saying, come on, right? Okay. Hey, I'm still letting you watch for free, right? All right. So first, some housekeeping here, yeah? Some housekeeping here. You need to join the dedicated the channel. Guys, put it up on screen here. This is the dedicated Telegram channel for the latest announcements, hang out with our coaches, get answers and clarity, okay? Maybe some answers and Q&As, and if there are some study materials that we can give, we will give, but otherwise, there are no study materials, all right? Okay, scan the code, all right, to get into the Telegram channel. And again, even I say this now, there'll be people joining late, and then you need to slap them for me, all right? Just, all right, because they ask the same questions over and over again, okay? All right, so everything you need is on this page. The link to the private Facebook group, the schedules for, I never know whether it's schedule or schedules, either one of this, okay? So the itinerary is on the page as well. And the access to my Telegram channel, and if there were any downloads, if my team is really not sleeping and doing some whatever stuff, it will be there, okay? The Q&As, we have about 20 coaches from Team Joya. Their names are in blue, okay? You can private message them or ask them openly in the chat or ask them in the Telegram group, okay? All right. Now, before I go into the main program, because I need to ensure that the beginners here are well taken care of, okay? Because don't forget, although some of you are practitioners, but a large portion of you guys, huge portion of you guys are totally beginners. So you got to understand that I got to help the beginners, okay? Just because you want the advanced stuff, you got to wait. You'll be patient. I'll come to that, right? But for now, you got to let me help the beginners, all right? How many of you consider yourself a beginner? Type a me in the chat right now. Okay, so I'll go slow for you guys first, right? Before I go into the actual filming of day one program. This is for you guys, okay? So now, let's start with a question, guys. Let's start with a question for all the beginners. Do you believe in luck? Do you believe in luck? Okay, let's do a poll. Let's do a poll, all right, on Telegram. So you guys can see this. Let's do a poll. When the odds are stacked against you guys, when the odds are of equal standing, when the odds are in your favor but afraid of screwing it up, when the odds are in your favor, none of the above. Luck is 100% a result. Which one do you believe in? All right, go, yeah, turn the poll, click on the poll, all right, it's on Telegram, okay? Some of you asking where Telegram, oh my God, all right, I should refrain myself from slapping you, okay? All right, let's be honest, who doesn't want some luck on their side, right? Okay, I'll ask you this question, just think about it, right? You've been through school when you're young kids, right? You're young kids, some of you are Buddhists, some of you are Christians, some of you, your own religion. Then you, just before an exam, maybe the day before an exam or day of the exam, how many of you went hold joss stick and start praying? Or start to mumble some mantras and start to ask for favors? In the course of your life, in the work life as well, right? When we're a very important event coming up, how many on that day itself will burn big joss sticks? Come on, be honest. Big joss sticks and start wishing, lam si po fat kiao, right? Or this last minute, start worshipping. The thing is this, right? Everyone wants a little bit of luck on their side. Everyone wants a, some booster, even if they're already on their A game, right? And come on, now, who doesn't want to make things a little easier? I mean, if, as my a friend was saying, many people will say they don't believe in God, but if the plane is crashing down, guess what they'll be doing at that point in time? Guess what they'll be doing at that point in time? Everybody. If the plane is going down, hope this will never happen to any of you guys, but suppose that's happening. What do you think you're doing? Right? So who doesn't want less problems, less fuck-ups, and less personal disasters, or no personal disasters? Come on. Well, let's take a look at how Feng Shui works in this aspect, shall we? Okay, so if you're a beginner, then this is generally what it means. Okay, so if you just draw this on your screen, like just this 4 quadrants, and we'll talk about good or right timing at above. All right, guys, can you just control the slides for me at this point, so it's easier for me to just talk? Okay. Yeah.
We'll put it on.
Yeah, okay. And good or right time, and bad or wrong timing, and then you have on this side the wrong or no activity, or the right or positive activity. Okay, so if you just look at this, there are 4 possibilities here, right? You can be wrong, something can be wrong, or it's no activity, or it's the wrong time. Okay, and then there's something it's wrong but it's at the right time, and there's something that is right but at the wrong time, but something that is right and also done at the right time. Okay, so strictly speaking, This is the only time, this spot right here, the right activity, right time, is the only time that you say you have good luck. Okay? So, and if you look at it, strictly speaking, at this spot here, the red color box here, strictly speaking, this is where you'll be saying you have bad luck. It's the wrong activity or no activity at the wrong time. Okay? So, but in reality, we treat this wrong activity at the right time as bad luck. And in reality, we also treat the right activity at the wrong time as bad luck. So, this is quite important for us to understand how something is good luck or bad luck. If you think about it, right? If you are doing the wrong thing at the right time, it's called activity luck. If you're doing the wrong thing or didn't do anything at the wrong time, then it's called no luck. If it's the right activity at the wrong time, you call it smart luck. But what do you call the right activity at the right time? What do you think you call it? You will call it good Feng Shui luck. Okay? So, looking back at past years, right, last couple of years, would luck have had any impact on how you have gone through the entire pandemic? Let's think about it. Would luck have any impact at all? Right? Because this is quite a difficult thing for a lot of people to comprehend, right? I mean, how do you judge good luck, right? So if you look at life as a series of battles on multiple fronts at the same time, guys, series of battles. You can talk about, your mental health. I mean, come on, some people battle themselves mentally all the time. I mean, how many of you know someone close, in fact, that has mental battles with themselves on a consistent basis? Type of me here. How many of you have people who are constantly battling physical health issues on a consistent basis? Right? How many of you are going through that yourself? How about financial health? Battling financial health for the last couple of years or more. I mean, with or without the pandemic, there are people who battle financial health. Right? This is a big area for battles, right? And energy. Some people battle energy health because energetically they're always disturbed or unwell or they don't feel energetically pleasant. This is unpleasant all the time, impatient all the time. Okay? Emotional health. Emotionally disturbed by the smallest of things, right? Unable to stabilize, unable to have inner peace. It's a battle just to keep emotions in check. Business health. Don't you think so? Business health is a big thing, right? A lot of times people ask this question. I'm sure you have asked this question before. Am I or is my partner, is my astrology suited for business? How many of you have this question? I mean, honestly, am I suitable for business? Suitable to start a business? Listen, anyone can do a business, just that not anyone will succeed. And they don't succeed can be of two reasons. One, really no luck, means wrong thing, wrong time, or right thing but wrong timing in the business, or the right timing but do the wrong thing or wrong thing at the right time. So lot of issues can happen, or simply they have no skills. Okay? So they battle business health. They need a lot of right things at the right time to actually make business works. Career vitality. After a while, they fight the career battle, then it becomes very stale. Right? How many of you are fighting a very stale and rocky career vitality right now? Okay, even if you're working from home. And spiritual health. Hey, this is important, yeah, spiritual health. Listen, I'll address all this very soon. Yeah, you got to know all this first. Spiritual health. Some people are disturbed spiritually all the time. They feel, seriously, I mean, there's no joke. Some people really feel that there is hauntings. They have, spiritually disturbed by some people. There are someone out there to jinx them. How many of you know someone like this? Type of me here. How many of you are someone like this? There's somebody is, they throw dead birds in my compound, right? They throw this thing. I know it's a curse. Or how many of you felt or you know someone that has been cursed before? Spiritual health is a problem, right? Or lifestyle problem, right? Some people have a lifestyle problems, and all this investments. I mean, of all, investments is a battle. It's not easy to do an investment intelligently, right? Most people speculate, but they call it investments. So all of this are one form of battle, okay? And we do that, we have all this happening at the same time. I want you to know that Feng Shui was originally created as a forbidden art for the elite and the upper echelons of society. Okay, this is for the upper class back in ancient China. To do what? Well, to help them with these battles, right? To at least put some energy, higher energy levels, so they can do the right thing at the right time, or at least the right timing comes to them. They have the right opportunities, so that in terms of the mental health, physical health, financial health, energy-wise, emotional health, business health, career health, spiritual health, lifestyle, and even investments have a bit more positivity than without. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so and of course, Feng Shui has got different types of systems, different systems. Okay, so Feng Shui that we know today, just so you know, before I move on to the filming, just so you know, this is so important for beginners, because you have this problem of conflicting systems, right? That is because the systems were created to create a result. I got people asking me, I'm trying to get a period 8 chart because period 9 is not good for me, or the best charts is in period 8 and worst charts are in period 9. I think there are, you have to understand, all these period 9, period 8 or period 7 charts that you will be learning soon, they all have a specific purpose. If you don't have a goal and you don't understand the usage of this chart, you'll be thinking there are better charts and worst off charts. Better or worse depends on what goals you have. Okay, if you have no goals, you have no purpose, you have no reason, then there's no reason to use Feng Shui. Okay, you have no areas in your life that need improvements, you don't need to use any Feng Shui systems. All right, Feng Shui originally all came from the Feng Shui that we know today came from one guy called Yang Wan Chong, Grandmaster Yang. Okay, everyone calls him Grandmaster Yang, or Yang Gao Pan. Yeah, he's the Yang, the savior of the poor. That's the name that people gifted to him. In some parts of China, they actually pray to him as the god of Feng Shui, because he's the godfather of Feng Shui. Basically, he's famous for taking out the manuscript from the imperial palace in the Tang dynasty and released the book to public. So the public gets to learn the Feng Shui and the systems of Feng Shui as a result of him disseminating this art. He's the originator. But prior to him, there are also more practitioners, just that it's forbidden to the upper class. So he taught a couple of students. And you know those days, right, allegedly, all the old masters are always afraid of divulging their secrets, and then their students, it backfired because the students are more powerful than them. They have this insecurity. I don't know why they have this insecurity. Today, even in the martial arts world, even in the Feng Shui, right, in industry, in the older generation, they're very reserved when it comes to teach. No one will go and open and just free and teach everyone. Okay, nobody does this stuff, right? Because then, first of all, you break your own rice bowl, right? And second thing is you give away all your secrets. So those days, what he did was he teach one guy the San Yuan method about time dimension Feng Shui, and he teach the other guy the landform Feng Shui about evergreen Feng Shui. So they will never be, unless they combine their powers, they will never be more powerful than the master himself. Okay, so that's why you have a San Yuan system, that branch that went out and formed the San Yuan school over centuries, right? And San He school, the other guy actually used landforms. So he studies mountains and waters and taught all his group of followers that particular system. Okay, so that's why they have two different schools today. But thanks to online internet and books out there today, I mean, anyone can cross borders as long as they don't restrict their identity to only one school. Okay, now you can actually combine the different principles. One is the evergreen system, one is the evolving system. What you are learning in this training that I'm about to film is a combination of both. Okay, so those days, always remember, they have large land, they have farm, they got so many things, right? They can have a whole piece of land. I just want this land, no problem, right? Today you cannot. I mean, your apartment is restricted. How many of you stay in 1,000 square feet or less? Tell me here, right? It's smaller. Can you just easily change, move out? You got missing corners. How many got missing corners in the house because your house is not square? How many have that? You got a missing corner in the house. right? And what do they tell you? Put mirrors, right? Put mirrors and put lights. Just bullshit, okay? Listen, wake up and smell the freaking coffee. If you have a missing corner, it's fucking missing, okay? That's it. Work on areas you have in the house. I repeat, if you have missing south, the other areas are not missing. You can only work with those areas that are not missing. It is okay. It's okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay. All right? Don't try and like, oh, you know, I need to have mirrors, I need to have light shining on that corner. Okay? And there are no specific wealth corners per se. Every area, like Identity Palace, if you change your core beliefs and your core capacity to be able to learn more, be more, and do more, and add more value to other people, your wealth capacity will also increase. When your mind changes, so will your life change. Okay? Nothing changes until the mind starts to change first. Nothing can change until your mind can change first. So you start with the Identity Palace. Isn't it cool? It also can be called a wealth sector. All right? So remember, the schools have, while they are different, right? A beginning student will find it conflicting. Like, oh, you know, the Identity Palace, but it's also the 5 yellow. Oh, it's also 3 killings. Oh, it's also this negative star and that negative star. Then what do? You say it's good, now it's no good. That's because your mind can't accept 2 things that happen at the same time. Okay? But 2 things can happen at the same time, right? Can an Identity Palace also be visited by some negative stars at some point in time? Yes or no? Type of yes or no. Yeah. Okay. The question is, what does it mean, right? Well, we'll talk about that later, because there's such a thing called long-term or evergreen, and then there's short-term, evolving. Remember just now there were 2 schools? Guys, there were 2 schools, right? The San Yuan, time dimension, and San He, landforms. Time dimension changes, evolving through time. Landforms, I mean, the mountains are still there, water's still there, so it don't really change. It changes slowly, okay? So when you look at a formula like your 8 mansions, your direction, life, the Identity Palace, later on, I'll talk more of today, I'm going to film what's the Creation and Wealth Palace and all that. They are unchanging, they are permanent. The palace is permanent, the direction is permanent. What goes inside is impermanent. Okay, so that's long-term and short-term. All right? So we have to merge the 2 systems, long-term and short-term. If you use only the long-term, it takes a long time before you get the effect. If you only use the short-term, you'll be switching around all the time and chasing stars. This year, this cannot use. That year, this room cannot use. And it becomes very stressful. How many of you found that if you just follow flying stars on a yearly basis, it becomes stressful? Like, oh, every year also must change. How many of you feel like this? Okay, like, oh, it's so stressful, right? Oh, this year I change here, that one place here, that this year. It becomes, right? You feel that it's stressful. You're like, listen, Feng Shui is not supposed to make your life difficult. It's not supposed to be an inconvenience to your life. You can write this down. Feng Shui is not supposed to be an inconvenience to your life. It's supposed to enhance your life. It's supposed to enhance what you do, okay? If you are a doctor, it makes you a better doctor. If you're an accountant, it makes you a better accountant. If you're a businessman or businesswoman, it makes you better in business. Okay, if you are a comedian, it makes you funnier. All right, if you're a comedian and you have enemies, you're pretty much fucked. Right? So, I mean, nobody wants to see your show. Right? So that's Feng Shui, right? So there's a lot of things you can do with Feng Shui. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a lesson today where we're going to look at the 4 Yang sectors and the 4 Yin sectors. Okay, all right, you guys are ready now? You got a good background information, everyone is here. All right, so watch as much as you want right now, because this is obviously, you get to watch it as a fly on the wall. Okay, look, people don't like to be called a fly. I'm not saying you're a fly, but pretend you're one in a room somewhere here and you're watching me film this, all right? So when I mention notes in a short while, I actually don't have the notes yet because it's not written, but it will be written as an end product, okay? All right. Okay, so I'm going to film the first lesson for today. So it's going to be on the 8 mansions life sector, but I call this topic the inner cosmos. Hey everybody, this is Joey Yam. Welcome to Feng Shui Life Force Energy Training Program. In this module, I will be sharing with you the 8 mansion system of the inner cosmos. Now, this technique of Feng Shui takes your year of birth. You see, in Feng Shui, the primary access to Feng Shui for San Yuan Feng Shui, which is a system of Feng Shui, takes the year of birth of the individual and convert it into this information known as their personal life gua or life star. Okay, so San Yuan system is the mother system of flying star Feng Shui or purple white or 8 mansions and all its related sub branches. Okay, so in this system they use hexagrams, right? Primarily hexagrams. So everyone has a gua of their own. So based on the year of birth, and in previous modules we have already talked about the personalization of the branches. That's when you get the nobility animal sign, the Tai Chi nobleman animal sign, and then the your peach blossom animal sign and intelligent star nobleman sign and so forth. Okay, so this part here is the starting ground of knowing how to deploy Feng Shui. We always start with this. So you will see this on your printout on the first page because these are the most essential information. So if you just scroll down on your Explorer, and you will notice that your directions, this is your personal inner cosmos direction, or we can call it your personal lifestyle directions. The technical term is lifestyle directions, okay, or your 8 mansions life gua. But I think easier to understand is to know it's your inner cosmos. It tells you which direction has what type of impact and influence on you based on your birth data. Okay, so now I've deliberately also changed the definition slightly because it used to be that people the older masters like to call it 4 auspicious and 4 inauspicious sectors. So when they call it 4 auspicious and 4 inauspicious, that gives the impression to users of this art that there will always be 4 sectors that are bad, and then they will avoid using it. They'll avoid, putting rooms in there and stuff like that. So I think Feng Shui should not be an inconvenience. It is not to be understood as bad sectors. Okay, they're not bad sectors. They're just I don't call it yin and yang sectors, right? There are usages for the stars. If you understand the stars by their nature, you would be able to understand that it's actually not a bad thing. It's just that there's some master's opinion back few hundred years or 1,000 years ago, they feel that this particular thing is not good, therefore it's inauspicious and you must avoid it. It's not avoidance, yeah? In Feng Shui, just learn to use the sectors. So this is also going to form the base layer for all your other applications of Feng Shui. This is the base layer, so it individualizes your Feng Shui. It sort of personalizes it to you, how these sectors influence you and what sort of potential they have for different aspects of your life. So there are going to be 8 different aspects that, that represent you in that particular house, okay? And everyone has a yin and yang aspect of their life, right? So these sectors here, if you zoom in, you will be able to see that the 4 yang sectors would be the creation and wealth palace, the health and well-being palace, the social charisma palace, and the identity palace. We talked extensively about the identity palace in previous module. Okay, now there's another 4 more palace: the adventure palace, the likability palace, the spiritual palace, and the trials and tribulations palace. So each one of these obviously have different qualities with them. So I'm going to explain to you the yang palaces first. And then in the next module, I'll explain the yin palace, and then I'll show you how they are actually, how it differs for every single house that you're in. Okay, there's actually a different a layer of energy that you actually overlay on top of this chart, and it'll give you an understanding of what are the potential that you have staying in this particular property and so forth. All right, let's talk about the creation and wealth palace. This palace here, or this, when you use the palace, I think you immediately imagine, this must be some emperor staying inside there, right? The word palace is a direct translation from the word gong wei. Gong wei can also mean sector or direction, the zone of that area, okay? So I think palace is not a really good way to translate this. Let's just call it the creation and wealth sector or direction, okay, that area of the house. So everyone look at your chart right now. In your first page is all the information you need. Where is your creation and wealth palace or creation wealth direction? Some will be in the south, some in the north, some in the east. Go ahead and do this exercise. This is all beginners start with this, okay? I know there's some advanced practitioner. Oh no, this is too beginner for me. Okay, since you're so smart, go and put in the Xuan Kong purple white inside there, okay? All right, we can talk about that later. Now let's talk about this for beginners, all right? Beginners, first find your wealth and creation palace. This is important. Well, first question, ask yourself, is or is this not part of your house? Some people have this missing. Yes or no? Now some of you are like, oh shit, it's in the toilet. It's in the toilet. It's bad. It's shit. So it means your wealth and creation is shit? Not really. It doesn't matter first the toilet or whether it is the garage. I just want you to know that, find out where it is first, right? That's the step one. Don't get too stressed out. Oh, I got toilet there, it's going to be bad. Do I flush away the money all the time? If I have a kitchen, that means I fry my wealth all the time. No. Okay, later on we talk about that, right? Now I just want you to know where they are. Now this particular area or zone governs your, I use the word creation because wealth is what you create. Okay, your career, your output in life, your ability to generate wealth. Okay, so it's not just wealth opportunities, but it actually represents your ability to generate wealth or create wealth. For some people, with wealth comes authority, status, power, and money. Okay, SPM, status, power, money, is also from this area. So it is also talking about work. This particular sector governs the quality and the capacity of your work. So it's individual. There might be 5 people living in this house, and all 5 might have a different wealth and creation and wealth direction. Okay? Then of course you may say, what's the difference? Do I look for missing sectors? Do I look for what? What you look for, I'll tell you shortly. First, you must know what it governs. Okay? So the quality of your work, the output of your work, right? What you could produce and not produce. Now, there are 2 ways to study the qualities. I'll tell you later on what they are, yeah? But first, I will, in short, it's what you see physically, internally and externally. And number 2, it's what you don't see in terms of an invisible chart layer on top of this area. I'll explain it later, okay? First, you must know where it is. Now, and what it is, okay? Number 2, health and well-being. Health and well-being palace, okay? Health and well-being palace. This, it's called Tin Yi, all right? Heavenly doctor. But what it really governs, it's helpful people. It also governs vitality. How fast do you heal? This is the healing sector. Okay, it talks about whether or not you receive assistance, support, help. Okay, your also talks about teachers in your life. It talks about how well you receive support and validation. Now, I think validation, say, it's not important, I get validated by people. Everyone seeks validation in some ways, okay? I mean, the fact that people are on social media trying to get likes and thumbs up is a form of seeking for validation, right? So, do you get it? Do you get the support? It's from here. How fast do you heal? Whether you respond well to healing and medication, or you are able to, receive the healing from doctors. This particular direction, okay? So it also governs all health matters, by the way. Now, is this a wealth sector? Okay, if your money comes from, if you work for other people, if you work for organizations, large organizations, then yes, this is one of the sectors that governs big corporations and wealth generated through salary. Okay, this is not a wealth generated from investments. Right now, investments is different. I'm going to talk about it shortly. Okay, this is more like steady income. Okay, now the other sector here is the social charisma palace. Okay, social charisma palace. In this direction, Everyone check where you have it. And now please don't worry about having a toilet or bathroom or some other things in that area. It's fine, okay? Please guys, don't get too stressed out when there's something like that, because it's not having a toilet that doesn't mean it's bad, okay? Because who told you that toilets are bad? In ancient days, toilets are bad because it stinks like hell in there, right? But today, no, all right? Today, most toilets are clean. They are not considered bad. So don't worry. It's just that the usage is a bit limited if it's a toilet, that's all, right? Now, social and charisma can talk about networking. It obviously governs the quality of long-term relationships. It governs your communication ability and communication matters. We are also talking about the connection with other people, affinity with other people, and yes, it actually governs longevity. Okay, the Chinese name for it is Yin Yin, means longevity. So length of life. So it's very different than the health direction, the heavenly doctor, which covers the healing. You can still be short life, but this one generally means you live long and have meaningful connections with people. Okay, so this also governs joint venture partnerships with others. So if you're working with others as an affiliate, as a partner, deal maker, right? You want long-term relationships, generally it is this direction. Now, of course, applications will come later. There's a lot of unique applications to this. There's a lot of unique and interesting applications to all of these techniques, especially in the workplace. And I'll explain to you how this is done, okay? Because there's a dynamic aspect of these applications as well, yeah? So, and of course, the other one was what we discussed in previous modules, called the Identity Palace, also known as Feng. Feng means it means stability. It means you sit there. This is your self palace. So it represents, as we said before in previous modules, your self-confidence, your belief system, your capacity in your thoughts, your perceptions in life. And of course, it governs whether you are courageous, not courageous, confident, not confident, and ultimately leads to how you make decisions in life. Okay, so all these four are considered the yang sectors, and good or bad depends on what visiting stars you have. Okay, I will explain each one differently in following modules. Yeah, I just want to tell you what these areas are. All right, so once you know these four, now how good, how bad, or it's not just whether there's a toilet or a kitchen or storeroom in there, okay? Although kitchen, toilet, storeroom will sort of restrain the usage, but always remember this, guys, use what you have and what you can. You can deploy this if you only stay in a bedroom. I mean, if you only rent a bedroom, this is all you can do, right? Then deploy it only over your usable space, which is in the bedroom. Okay, because that's all you have. Can't do anything outside the house. What can you do, right? So the thing that goes on in most people's mind is obviously, oh shit, it's not as effective if I can't use it for the whole house. No, don't. Some feng shui effects better than no feng shui effect. Don't you think so? Okay, when you use this, you'll be good enough to go and buy your own house or rent your own house eventually. Then you can use the whole house. But right now, start with your room if that's your limited scope. Okay, limited scope right now. So the four yin sectors, let's just talk about the four yin, and then I'll tell you how to apply some of these and what to see. How do you see the quality, okay? It's not just what you see on that area. Now, the four yin sectors, let's start with the this thing called the Adventure Palace, okay? Now, the Adventure Palace, the Chinese name for it is called Wo Hoi, okay? So Wo Hoi can mean harm or mishaps. So the general idea for this is disharmony and disunity. However, if you study the star that governs this, particular sector, actually the star is called rewards. It's wood element. It's the thunder hexagram. So it actually represents adventure, something that is challenging, maybe a little bit uneasy, but it does represent challenges, and it can be surprises as well. Okay, it can represent surprises, and of course when there are challenges and there are surprises, it's a little bit uneasy for people. So in old days, right, people look at this, it's a bad sector, you gotta be careful, so it's gonna have mishaps. But no, this actually means It breaks the status quo, right? It disrupts things. It's disruptive, yes. But if you have been stagnant for a long time, right? If things have been boring for a long time, this actually means variety. This sector this direction can help you with variety. It helps you with doing things differently, seeing things differently, dare to be different, okay? So what's so bad about it? So this, if you want to have an adventurous lifestyle, right? You want to do something different, want to break the mold, make things, spice up things, then this would be a great direction to use. So don't regard this as a negative sector. Just look at what it's used for, okay? It's used for jazzing up something, okay? That's about it. How about this harmony and all that? Well, if you're going to do something different than other people, surely there will be a bit of arguments. But who cares, right? Who cares? It's just, people always expect people to be the same. But when you're different, there's going to be some haters. But it's fine, right? They're not going to kill you. You're going to be all right, okay? So look at this as an adventure palace. Now, the other palace here, the direction is called the likability palace. I call it the likability palace because originally 6 killings is a water star, okay? And because part of this nature, back in old days, you have too many relationships, you're too, what do you call that? Basically, those old days, if you have 1 or 2 more relationships, they call you a slut. Okay, that's the ancient way of looking at this water star, but it's not really bad. Today is like, okay, you know how to flirt a little bit. You are you are attractive in some ways. You're charming. You're likable. Yeah, a little bit more emotional than usual, but it's not a bad thing. Okay, so it talks about seduction, right? Romance and passion. And of course, overindulge in all this obviously will lead to disputes and some arguments. And obviously, divorce is a legal problem. But then again, if you are lacking in attraction, right? You are lacking in charm. You're lacking in the likability department. Then this is a great sector to use. Jazz things up and have fun. So I would look at this as the likability or I would say passion sector. Okay, if you ran out of passion in your relationships, guess which one you're going to use? This is the sector you want to use. Okay, now how to use, I'll tell you later. Okay, just relax first. You in upcoming modules, I will show you the application. Right now, it is what is this first. Later on, how do we actually deploy this? That's a different way to apply each and every one of this in a positive way. Okay, so whenever you need to be charming or seem to be charming, want to be able to connect in a passionate way for someone, then 6 killings is the direction. So we don't call it 6 killings, we call it likability from now on. Okay, now the 5 ghost sector, also known as the spiritual palace. Back in the old days, this is a sector that governs, a lot of gossips. Okay, because of suspicion, right? But that's because they think that the fire element here represents heated arguments, suspicion, and all that. But if you really study the elements of this star, the chastity star, in a positive way, it can represent spiritual connection. It represents the mystical dimension. It governs the world of thoughts and dreams. It's your inner world. So, if you're pursuing a spiritual path, right, your spiritual studies, or you're pursuing study of consciousness, you got to use this sector, okay? You got to have this particular sector because this fire element represents spiritual pursuits. So enlightenment represents spiritual pursuits. You got to conquer the inner demons. If you can conquer the inner demons, you can enlighten your inner demons, you gain wisdom, right? So this direction or this sector is good for for those of you who are pursuing a spiritual path. It's not a bad thing. But on a negative aspect, it can when say negative means there are negative features in this area, then of course for somebody they could be extremely staunch in their beliefs or one-sided in their religious beliefs, and that could be dangerous no matter what religion it is. Okay, but that's a personal issue, nothing wrong with the pursuit itself, right? But if you gain wisdom, you overcome that, then it's great for you. You gain enlightenment. Okay, so this is called the spiritual direction. Now, there is one direction called the trials and tribulations, and of course this can represent misfortune. or it can govern the serious health problems, accidental injuries, extreme challenges. But all this is basically, they call this the important life lessons. So I don't think that this is like bad, but sometimes in order to learn something, unless it is extremely painful, this is like the pain sector, it's painful, we probably won't remember the lesson. So this is one of those areas that we have to be a bit cautious about, what we have in that area, what we see physically, and also what we have energetically. That will be based on the star chart later on, I'll tell you. That can tell you whether or not there will be problems that could lead to accidents or possible health injuries and major discord with people. Normally is from this direction in the house, okay? Now, everybody's cosmos, all right, the 8 directions is different. They are in different areas, okay? So what's good for me might not be good for you. Some of you may say, so how do I use this, right? Well, application is an interesting aspect of this particular system of Feng Shui, okay? Now that you know the 8 sectors, okay, the 8 different palaces that every individual has, now you have to know the next thing about the system is there is the difference between sectors, meaning the location, as well as direction, okay? So you could be facing, as in looking to, that's called facing, to one of these directions, or you could be in an area that is influenced by this particular star, okay, or energy. So the basis, right, before we begin, right, let's look at this sample here, right? So let's say now this is the chart, and we have discovered that, let's just say, right, that your creative and wealth sector is right here. Okay, let's just say this entire area is your creative and wealth sector. All right? So in this case here, this area, the whole area is influenced by this particular energy, but you could be facing any direction, isn't it? All right? You could face any direction, and you are still inside the zone of creative and wealth based on your own birth data. Okay? So, of course, you may say, are these the good areas, right? Are these the good sectors? Well, there's one way of looking at it, that this entire area here, externally in your house, what do you have? If you have natural water or nice hills, these are Mother Nature's gifts for you, okay? Now, of course, if you study Feng Shui, Sanhe Feng Shui, there are types of water and types of hills, of course. But these are Mother Nature's gifts. If you have this, road junctions, for example, is virtual water. Anything that externally that represents, okay, in your case, you're a beginner, so is anything beautiful in that area means you have a beautiful wealth and creative sector for yourself. This is the basis, very, very simple, okay? Now, of course, if you have life generating, which is the creative and wealth sector, now you are talking about the identity palace, the health and well-being, they're all read the exact same way. This is called location or sector. However, there's another way to see this, and that is called directions, okay? There's another way to use this, and it's called direction. So that means facing something. Okay, now facing can apply to main door, inside looking out, from inside looking out direction, and it can apply to desk, it can apply to bed, it can apply to stove. Nowadays, if you don't cook, we don't care about the stove, yeah? If you cook, well, yeah, stove direction is important. If you eat at home, stove it is important. Nowadays, people Uber or Grab, right? Okay. So, a main door direction, watch this. Okay, this is where a lot of people get confused. See this door here? This door is in the northeast area. Okay? Now, the northeast area for someone can be, let's say a person has this chart on the screen right now. Northeast means trials and tribulation. Trials and tribulation. So obviously it's not favorable, isn't it? But, this door, it's facing towards the north direction. Watch this, you see? The compass, if this direction is north, if you move it over here, it's also north. Okay, you get the idea? Because from here, looking out, this is north, isn't it? So if I'm standing here, looking out, it's also north. Now what is north to this person? The north is the creation and wealth direction. This creation wealth direction can of course supersede the area of trials and tribulations. Okay, so don't worry, oh shit, my door is actually in a bad area, bad zone. Well, where is it facing? It's facing good direction. Okay, likewise, if your door is in a good area, it sort of can compensate, balance off a bad direction. So if I am in a good area, such as being in the, let's say, in the area of wealth creation, right? Creation and wealth sector. But my direction is pointing towards, is looking out to trials and tribulations. And yeah, it's not, it sort of balances it out, right? Because, well, you got a good area after all, not so bad, okay? So this is the basic. It's not the be all and end all, because on the next lesson, I'm going to tell you what stars go into each area, okay? What stars go into each area, and that tells you the level, the difference, the quality of each individual sectors, okay? So if my, for example, if I have a the wealth and creation palace, the creation palace, I have, let's say, star 8, star 9 in that area, then my wealth creation palace is at its most highest potential in this house. And of course, there's a way to activate it even if it's not, okay? So that's called small Tai Chi. Later on, you will know how to do that, okay? But now layer by layer. So I want you to go and find out where, if you're working on a desk, where are you looking to? That's called facing direction, okay? And if you're sleeping on the bed, then there's the headboard direction. I will show you now on the bed, okay? So suppose that this is the bed, all right? So you see here, on the bed, I'll just show you. You see this, the pillows are here. This is the direction the bed is facing. It's not, it's your head. The crown chakra points towards that direction. So that is the facing direction of the bed. Okay? Not where your feet is. If you say, no, but I get up and then I look at the east, right? That is not the direction. Feet direction, feet direction is when you're dead. Okay? When you're dead and you invite me to come do your Feng Shui on your grave, I will look at your feet, where you're pointing to. You're not dead yet, you do the headboard, okay? Crown chakra. So when you lie down like this, that direction is your facing direction. So it's from here, right? The topmost antenna for you to receive the energy. So it's like this, okay? So in this case here, because this direction is east, you can see it in this graphic here, it's facing east. Therefore, here, looking at that direction is east. It's in the southeast area facing east. Southeast area facing east. Okay, this whole area is southeast, but the direction the headboard is facing towards east. And some of you will be blur blur, I know, yeah, but blur blur means why like that, huh? Oh, that's because if I take this compass that is facing east, just watch this, it's east to east, right? I just take it over here. You see what I mean? It's still east. Okay? It cannot be southeast. The southeast is location. I hope you understand. Yeah, for some people, it's like just cannot comprehend. It just cannot, because stuck. Okay. You take your brain out, take it apart, put it back inside. So it's unstuck it, yeah? So basically, this compass, you go anywhere in the house, it's going to be the same direction, you know. So if it's north, like north to the top here, you go down to here, it's still north. You go here, this is still north, okay? So remember, this is where the headboard direction is, okay? Now, the other one is the a study desk, okay? So this study desk, can you see this guy right here? This is the table, and that is the facing direction, right? Okay, what direction is it facing? Now, the first impression you'll be thinking is, oh, it's in the northeast area. Yes, the area is northeast, the whole area is northeast, but check this out, okay? If I take the compass direction like this, and I put it over here, clearly I'm facing to north. Okay, so just measure from where you are, looking forward. That's called facing north. Now, Feng Shui is different than Qi. Qi is always sitting at a direction, right? In Feng Shui, the facing, you take into consideration these personal directions. Okay, so the area, the zone is one. The looking, the orientation is another. So this is called desk facing. All right. Now then, of course, you have stove facing, which is quite different. Let me see. Okay, stove facing. All right. What is stove facing? In case you want to know. So stove facing, it's, you see the stove. This is a stove. So a stove has got knobs. So the knobs looking out, that direction is the facing direction of the stove. Okay? That's how you apply very basic Feng Shui. Okay? This is super easy. I teach you in one lesson only. Later on, there will be multiple layers. Stove facing. So this is a direction of the stove. Stove governs generally, if you cook from this and it favors a certain direction, like healing direction, then of course you heal faster. Okay, so that's the whole reason why the stove is important. The stove is not a wealth thing, all right? Even if you got the stove wrong, it doesn't mean you go bankrupt. So some people say if you put the stove in the wrong direction, you go bankrupt. It's not true. It's just what you eat, okay? So it's, and only if you eat from the cooking that you've done in this stove. Now, of course, it's going to favor some and not favor some. It's fine. There are other ways to work around it. Just relax, chill. I'll come to that part. Okay, so here, it's called the stove direction. Now, if the knobs, if this is your stove, and the knobs are on this side, then that is the facing direction. Okay, inside measure. So in this case here, the knobs are here, so it faces to this direction. So if this is east facing, can you see? So I'm just align this, west, and I put it here, can you see? Back is east, this is west. That back is west, this is east. Okay, so this is east facing. All right? So that's called east facing. So of course, what is east to you? Now, of course, you'll be say, oh, my headboard, I'm facing to the life generating was great, but my wife who's sleeping next to me is now facing to a bad sector, like mishaps. So, oh no, it's no good for her. No, it's not. This is Adventure Palace. Adventure direction. That's why I changed the names for you so you understand. It's not always a bad thing. Like maybe she's facing the likability, maybe she's facing to her spiritual direction. There's only one direction that I would generally for beginners avoid, and that's the trials and tribulations. If I could change that, I would adjust that. Otherwise, the other sectors just have different meanings. Trials and tribulations, unless the criteria which I'm going to share with you is okay, then there is an exception to that rule. But in general, if it's like a no-no, we try to not have the bed direction or desk direction aligned to trials and tribulations. It just makes things more tough and difficult. Okay, tough, difficult, and challenging. So if you're now, of course, what is the purpose, right? Main door governs for you. If you have a main door that is aligned to let's say social charisma or this identity palace or health and well-being, generally how you receive the chi would benefit that specific aspect of your life more. It enhances that aspect of your life more. So if your social charisma direction is where you're aligning to in your main door, generally this house, whatever energies you receive as a result of activating the Feng Shui, it sort of amplifies your social standing, network, charisma, and connection. Okay? So if your bed is tapped towards one of these directions, let's say health and well-being, then in your sleep and your rest, because bed is for resting, okay? Normally you don't work for the bed. So if you put in a wealth direction, you'll be probably thinking more about work and get inspired to do more business. If it is towards the likability sector, you'll be having wet dreams all the time. If you're a spiritual palace, possibly you are maybe dreaming or thoughts or maybe hallucinating a little bit, but nevertheless, it's, well, maybe you are spiritual, maybe you connect, maybe you do astral projections, right? So if you are in the adventure palace, you think you probably can't sleep so much because it's exciting, you have, you like to change things around. So that's basically when you are charging your batteries while you sleep, that is the type of energy you're probably receiving. The only one that I think it's not really necessary for that, it's the trials and tribulations, because then you're probably thinking that life is very difficult, challenging, why got so many problems, why is it unfair, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I think the rest has its strengths. Now, what sort of quality you have in there? On the next module, I'm going to tell you what stars are in that area. What stars are in that particular sector, and that sort of enhances or creates a whole different scenario for you. And there are different types of layering charts. There is flying stars, then there is the Shui purple white, then there's the Sanhe. Okay, so there are different layerings. Think of it as templates. Think of it as templates that you put one template on top of another that sort of give you details. It's super easy. Feng Shui is not very difficult to use at all if you understand the basis of where you start. This is the basis of where you start. Okay, so let's say now you want to keep things simple. Okay, fine. If you have your desk aligned to, let's say, social charisma, and if your bed is aligned to your health and well-being, generally it's pretty okay, right? Your door may be one of the good directions. Life is pretty good, okay? You can have some challenges, but in general, it's pretty good. So you start with that. Now, some of you are, how about balcony direction? How about balcony direction? My balcony is facing a good direction. Is it going to be okay? Yes and no, okay? The balcony direction is more important for the receiving of your flying star or Shui energy, less about your, less acting as a door for your eight mansions, your cosmic, your inner cosmos energy. So let's say flying stars, which you will learn later on, a layering of that star is, let's say wealth star is there in your balcony, then having the balcony to receive the energy in, it's a good thing. But it doesn't sort of get activated just because the alignment of that direction is facing towards your identity palace or your social charisma. However, the sector in which it is in, it's important because of good flow of energy coming in. All right, so if it's the sector, let's use an example, will be easier for you, okay? So let's just say I have a house with the balcony. Let's say, there it is. Okay, let's just use this example. It's a very simple example here. So primarily this is southeast area, just so you can see here, this is southeast area. Suppose you have this entire area here, this entire area, let me just highlight it. This entire area here is your health and well-being. Let's just say this is your health and well-being sector. Well-being, can't spell to save my life. Okay, well-being. So generally the energy you receive is based, it's health and well-being. Now, of course, the direction of your balcony might be facing south. It could be a different star altogether, but the direction of balcony, it's not very effective because you actually don't come in from the balcony to your house. The door is more important when it comes to this particular system, the main doors, and if you want, some of the room doors, but mainly is the main door to the unit or the house, okay? So please remember, even if the door is wrong, let's say that the direction is in the trials and tribulations, please also study what sector is the door in, okay? If the sector of the door, let's just say I have, I will just make it very simple. Let's say, right here, okay. Okay, this is north, so this whole area is north. Let's say north is a bad direction and bad sector for me. It's trials and tribulation, challenges, problems, pain, okay? And this door clearly is within the north area. Can you see that? Okay, so this door is in that area, so I don't like it. Now, what do I do? Okay, so I check. If north is bad for me, is One of the ways, okay, is to look at what are the other areas. Is my bedroom still good? Is my kitchen, i.e. the stove, still good? How about my desk? Is it still good? If this is good, this is good, this is good, I will ignore the door. Doesn't matter. If my bedroom is no good, my kitchen is also bad, my desk is also bad, then this is a little bit of a problem. Then I should initiate a change. Okay, I need to initiate a change. But is it easier to change the door, or easier to just move the bed direction, or easier to change desk direction? I think easier to realign your desk, isn't it? Right? Or maybe just realign the sleeping direction. You can already immediately readjust the energy in that area. So there's some things you can do, not just make the door bad, change the door. Now, of course, traditionally, if you got all the money in the world, this is what you can do. Watch. You see here, this is the entrance you come in. I will put what we call a divider. And once the divider comes in, watch. Once I put a divider here, I enter and I will change direction coming in from the northeast direction. And northeast might be a good sector. Okay? So this is called Kap Hei Fat. There's a technique for that. See, there's so many applications. This is only the elementary applications. In the next module, I'll tell you how you can take your personal directions and deploy a energy map over it to see what qualities, what sort of career, what sort of business, what sort of people you can look for to assist you or to support you. There's another layer to apply this particular system. And even more exciting, when you apply this in your workplace, because if you know their charts, and it's quite easy to get their charts. If you know their charts, you can also sit in that person's social charisma sector, sit in that person's likability sector. So suddenly your communication, that person is always very friendly and likable. There is a way to utilize this type of energy, okay? And in the ancient books of 8 mansions, okay, for daughters who want to get married, right? For let's say the father wants to marry off the daughter, this technique is very, very important, okay? There's a technique to use in 8 mansions that's specifically for marrying off their daughters, all right? In old days, they have techniques like that, yeah? Okay, how many of you are interested in learning stuff like this? Okay, make sure you put, all right, type a me in the chat, all right? Okay, now, I hope you enjoyed this module about your personal sectors, your personal directions. In the next module, when you're ready, I will help you superimpose one layer of energy map onto these areas to understand its specific qualities. Okay, all right, guys. All right, you guys got the clip?
Yeah, got it.
All right, so that was the lesson on introduction to the personal directions, the inner cosmos. The next part, of course, will be to qualify that by adding the energy map onto it. Okay, so that's be really, really exciting. And I think some of you want to learn about deeper applications. There'll be a lot of applications, In fact, I will be talking about how you can actually deploy it in your work, because you are the compass, who is in whose area can tell you the dynamics between the working parties, the team in an organization, right? Even amongst in the house, right? And these techniques, those days, are found in this book called Pa Zap Ming Keng, the 8 Mansions Guiding Mirror. But you read that book, it's too complicated. It's like, wow, all this ancient Chinese. I'm showing the easy and simplified way. On the next module where I'm going to film, I will add in one more layer called the flying stars. Okay, once you understand the flying stars is the dynamic aspect to the static aspect of Feng Shui. It'll be very interesting to see what type of wealth palace do you have, what type of health and well-being or mental palace do you have. What maybe the trials and tribulations is actually not that bad, because there are other configurations that can actually turn it into a favorable direction. Okay, or maybe it's really, really bad because it has the energies that cause constant breakups and accidents and so forth. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to take a short break. Okay, take a short break here while you guys go and superimpose your chart and highlight the areas and all that. If you know flying,
We're still reading, catching up on the reading of
all
the
right.
questions.
Okay, I'll catch up with reading of the questions. I'll answer as many as possible. I'll just have a cup of coffee now. And then you guys go and have a cup of coffee. I'll post your questions here on the chat and as well as on the Telegram. I'll read it through. And then when we are back, I'll tell you how to do the next layering in the module about how to qualify the sector and see the energy effects. Okay, there are different star influences and how you can actually use the energies in a positive way. Okay, now the countdown will be on screen, so you'll see when you should be back for the second part here while I am just taking a short break. Okay, see you shortly.
2003. I got just graduated from law school. I was really like struggling because I didn't like law, but I knew at that time that I wanted to be into business. And I found that on a magazine that Feng Shui might help. And I found that it was a tool that you could use to fulfill your life.
Right.
So I was really, impressed about it, and I wanted to learn.
All right.
So I started, and it really was something that, enlightened me. So then, at that time, he was my partner. He was developing a project, so I started working with him. And so we start applying it into the project.
Wow, okay. So you apply Feng Shui into the project?
Into the development.
Okay.
It was really fast for us to start selling.
Okay.
This was before the crisis, in 2000.
Before 2008.
Exactly. We did need it, to change what we were doing because of the crisis, or at least to stop, the property development.
Okay.
And to move forward. And the idea was that we could make some business, an industry that will produce bread. What I've also done into the business is that I had applied, it was my own, expertise, to apply, the Feng Shui into the manufacturing inside the plant. Okay?
That's very creative. Wow.
Yes.
So you fixed the plant, the factory's Feng Shui on your own?
Yes, internally I did it. And then I
okay.
realized where to put, the ovens, where to put the process area, where to put the bread and the different areas so it might work, for the business, and it has. Now we have a business that produces bread for franchises and hotels,
good.
Wyndham and Hard Rock Cafe. We produce more or less like 12,000 pieces a day.
Wow.
So it's been quite incredible, and how Feng Shui has worked for me. My advice will be just to apply it, Joey has shown us a really easy way that will make fast results, really. And if you use Feng Shui or Batsy or Chi-Men, they're incredible tools that will help you, but you need to apply it. And with him and what he has done is very easy because he has taught the easy way to apply it in the modern way. So the theory, now it's practical.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for the second part of our live stream behind the scenes for the filming of Feng Shui Life Force Energy. And in the previous filming, just a session ago, we talked about the personal directions and how you could deploy simple Feng Shui. And I'm about to film the next module here. It's about overlaying the energy map over your personal directions. Okay, so of course, the same energy map known as the flying stars. Now for basics, for everybody starts off with this, okay? The house has a flying star chart. The flying star chart looks like this. Okay, these are flying star charts. Okay, so I think you can just show it here on the screen here. These are flying star charts. And so I will not be teaching how to plot these charts, but what I'll do is, Kenny, can we send it to the Telegram so that at least they can follow this part? This one.
This one, okay.
Yeah, okay, so I will send you these charts here on Telegram so you could follow the session. Because when the final program is out, the students already have access to using the Explorer. So the Explorer actually does all the work for them, so they don't have to do the manual part. So for now, you guys have to do it manually. So you take these charts here and then you superimpose the flying star numbers into the house sectors. Now, in case you don't know how this is done, if you're super new, there will be, I've already filmed 2 videos on how to demarcate the house and how to superimpose the flying star energy map, this charts over your house. So, or your apartment unit. If you can just watch those videos, I've linked them on YouTube, or is it on Telegram, right? Telegram. Okay, so it's on my main Telegram channel. You can scroll through that. I think for you guys here, if you can help me out here, just tell those who have a problem knowing how to superimpose the chart where to look for that video, okay? Because then I don't want to waste too much time showing how to plot the chart, because at the end, when this final product of this course is out, students don't need to learn how to do that, because they can just press the button on the software. As you can see shortly, it will just plot the chart for them, okay? And superimpose for them already, so it's actually quite simple. All right, okay, now, are we ready?
Let's go.
Okay, all right. Hi everyone, this is Joey Yap here, and welcome back to the Feng Shui Life Force Energy Training Program. In this module, I will be showing you how you could qualify the quality, the energies of each of your personal sectors on your Feng Shui compass by superimposing the flying star chart, the energy map, over the 8 sectors of your house. Now, of course, this requires you to understand, what are the criteria for getting the energy map of the house. Now, Feng Shui has got a few perspectives, okay? The perspective about your personal directions, those are permanent. Your direction, let's say north is your good direction, like wealth and creation, for example, they will be permanent forever. Okay, so your north, anywhere north sector, north direction, it's generally the best. Is the creation and wealth sectors. Okay, however, in different homes, you might be living in different homes around the world, or maybe around the city, or if you buy a new house, you move house. While the north is still your creation and wealth palace, the quality of energy inside that area will change or is different in different houses, because the house has its own energy map as well. So what you're going to do now is to overlay your personal chart with the house energy chart. Now, the house energy chart for internal Feng Shui, one of the most practical and usable systems is known as Flying Star Feng Shui. Okay, so Flying Star Feng Shui, it's generally a time-based system to understand the quality of qi in each area of the house. Okay, it's a very, very popular method, and it's also one of the basic methods that most practitioners would use whenever they want to assess the qualities of the house. Okay, now of course, if you're a more advanced student, you can go on an even deeper layer known as the Shui Purple Wine. So there are different layerings that different practitioners would use. Now, it does not mean that one of these layers are more powerful than the other layer. It depends on need basis, okay? When do you deploy maybe the Shui Purple White, or when do you deploy the Flying Stars? But because you're beginners, you got to start off with something. Let's look at the basic, like sort of a long-term 20-year cycle chart, and how does this chart influence us on a long game, okay? So that's why we start with Flying Stars. Okay. Now, how do we actually do this? Well, first you must understand the dynamics, the mechanics of a flying star chart, okay? The mechanics of a flying star chart. Now, you got to understand the components in the chart. So I'll just give you an example here. Let's say this is a period 8 southwest 1 facing property. So a southwest one facing property would have this chart. I want to just show you on the screen here so you can see it is on paper and on the screen. So you guys who downloaded the notes will look at southwest facing 1 period 8. Okay, so you can zoom in yourself, right? So in each box, in each of these boxes, there are 3 numbers. Okay, in each box there are 3 numbers. So if you're new to Feng Shui, you probably don't know what these numbers mean. Don't worry, let me just tell you what it means. In any of these boxes, I'm going to just blow this up a little bit. You have a top left number and a top right number. And then of course there's the middle base number. Okay, so all the top right numbers are considered the yang components. It's considered yang, and it normally governs quality of work. It is also known as the wealth star. Now please do not make the mistake of calling this a water star. It is not called a water star. It is known as a yang star, and it governs activities or external in nature. This on the left side is the yin star, and all left top left side is considered yin, and it governs things like personality, inner feelings. It governs it govern health matters, things that are inside you or and unseen. Okay, or it's more like a feeling, right? On the yang side, it's activity. The other one is how you feel. Okay, so you can say that on the right side, it can represent what you do. On the left side is how you feel. Okay, so it's 2 different nature. The big number in the center, normally in basic Feng Shui, we don't look at it. We don't need to look at it. But if you want to know what it is, it governs opportunities. It governs different opportunities relating to that period in which you are in. Okay, so normally to start off, you would just look at the 2 numbers on the top, the top left and the top right. Okay, so each of them have its own unique perspectives, and I will use the 8 mentions later on, how we superimpose over to explain what are the qualities that are best found in each sectors. Okay, so what you need to do now is to go and use your Explorer. All right, so let's say I'm using this example here right now. This is a person who is life star number 4. So it's a life star number 4. The person will have these personal sectors. Okay, so we can see here, north is the creation and wealth palace. The east is the social charisma palace. The northeast is trials and tribulations. Identity in southeast. Health and well-being in the south. Spiritual palace southwest. Likability the west. Adventure palace northwest. Okay, easy peasy, no problem. Now what else you need is you go to this page in the in your Explorer. And what you do is now, it's either landed property or high-rise building. There is a difference in which the stars are plotted. So just follow the instructions. Let's say they live in a high-rise. That means it's apartment, condos, or flats. Okay, even if it's not high, it is a 3-story apartment, condo, or flat. It's considered high-rise. All right. The word high-rise sometimes be confusing. Let's just say you live in an apartment, condo, or flat, or some units, there's multiple homes. What do you call that in the States? Multiple house, I don't know what you call in one building. Okay, so what you do is building facing, as you could see, because you live in multiple different individual units in the building. So take note of this. There's such a thing called building facing and first occupant move in. So for building facing, let's just say I am scrolling down to South 1. Okay, so this is a South 1 building facing, and the first occupant moved in let's say 2005. Now I specifically use the word first occupant. You may not be the first occupant. You might be the 10th occupant. All right? We follow the first occupant because the first occupant that occupies the building determines when life starts for this building. Okay? Or when they start calculating the period. So if the person moved in let's say between 1984 to 2003, the first occupant, then this is a period 7 unit, the building, okay, first period 7 building, because that's when life began. So even you bought the building, bought this unit at in 2017, and you moved in 2017, but because there are other occupants above and below or somewhere around the building who did not leave the building, it is still considered a period 7 building. Okay, now let's just make things simple and not complicate things. Let's just say you are also the first occupant to this new building and you moved in period 8, okay, which was, let's say, 2 years ago. Let's say you moved in 2017, for example. Now, this is just additional piece of information called unit door facing. So in this case here, because your door facing and your building facing can be 2 different directions. Your door in this case here might be facing to north at the back somewhere, and your building is facing to south 1. It's 2 different things. So just follow and key in the information and you click on plot chart. Okay, now that you have plotted the chart, you come to this page here. This is a very important page in your Explorer, because you could see now, right here, you have the Feng Shui compass, the 24 mountains, and you have the sectors, your sectors based on your date of birth. Okay, so here you can have the well-being palace, the health and well-being palace, the identity palace, which is southeast, the social charisma palace, the trials and tribulations, creation palace, adventure palace, likability, spiritual palace, and so forth. These are all the 8 directions as per your data. Now, what I want you to do is go to this flying star section and click on natal flying stars. Once you click on natal flying stars, you will notice that you actually have a ring that appears in the middle, and this ring here is your natal flying star chart of a South 1 property moved in period 8. So here you could clearly see, now I know the numbers, why are they written upside down? The purpose that this Explorer is created this way is so that when you print out this chart on a transparency film, you could actually put it over your house and immediately do the feng shui from whichever direction. It's designed to simulate a lopan, a compass, okay? So it's a template, so you can print this out on a transparency film and just put it over your house at the center. Then you know the sectors and what stars influence what area. Now what I want you to do now is to pay attention to the north sector. Now we know that north sector is this individual, let's just say his name is Johnny, and Johnny's creation palace, and you look at the flying star numbers here, he has double 8s, okay? He's got double 8s. Now, what I want you to look at is the top right number, okay? The top right number. So the top right number is an 8. The top right is the activity number, okay? Top right, all top rights, okay? The right number, the right side number is the activity number, the yang number. So we call that the wealth numbers, or wealth related or work related numbers, the yang numbers. So you have, this person has, Johnny has star number 8 inside his creation and wealth palace. Is that good or no good? Well, of course it's great. It's a wealth star. So you have possibility of 9 numbers on the top right, right? 9 different numbers to be in this particular palace, and I want to explain to you what the differences are if you have this 9. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 possibilities that is in this number. Now go ahead, guys. Type in what number do you have on the top right, okay, of your chart inside your creation and wealth palace. Okay, just go ahead and show what number so that I know that you know what we're talking about. Okay, so once you know what the star numbers is, here are the meanings. Okay. So if you, first of all, the numbers, there are 2 types of layering. One is the timeliness and the second one is the quality. So because it is about wealth creation or creation palace, so the number inside this palace indicates the potential for wealth creation. So if you have a star 1 in there on top right side, okay, star 1. 1 represents wisdom, knowledge, reputation, status. So this can indicate that your potential for generating wealth is largely related to your position, status, popularity, your wisdom, and maybe you are in an advisory role, because star 1 is an advisor, the great advisor. So maybe you are a great counselor, coach, or maybe you are capable of achieving great wealth as a a high-ranking officer. That's star number 1. It's one of great star, best star I feel to have in the career palace, because generally you have great reputation. As your reputation increases, so does your wealth. Okay, so you don't have to be in this sector. I want to know what is in your wealth creation palace. Okay, of course, if you move to a different house, you have a different chart. Now, if you have star number 2, how many of you got star number 2? Who's got star number 2 inside their creation and wealth palace? If you got star number 2, please don't think it's a bad thing. Star 2 relates to properties. Star 2 relates to assets. So star 2, particularly if this person involved in property development, buying and selling land, and real estate, for example, this would be a great star. This is also a good teacher star, because star 2 actually represents big classrooms. So if you are a big guru perhaps, right, or someone who has a very big cult-like following, that's star number 2. So pursue this path and create great following, okay? Now, star number 3 in the wealth and creation palace is from physical activities, martial arts, movie star, for example, sportsmen, for example, or people who do slightly physical related activities, for cycling or sports or extreme sports, tennis players, for example. All this relates to star 3 in your career palace. It's activity based, physical appearance based. Star 4 are more for scholars, writers. It's more for those who write, and creative writing, copywriting, for example. Creating websites, NFT artists nowadays, they will make good money, okay? NFT artists is part of this, okay? Artistry is part of star 4, okay? Star 5, it's not a bad star in your career palace, it's just a type of job, just remember that, yeah? Star 5 in this creation and wealth palace indicates, people who make money dangerously, or maybe in a different side of the law, or maybe through gaming, right? Star 5 is on gaming. Gaming nowadays has been legalized, or I would say star 5 now is bordering line, maybe digital assets. It's still assets. However, there is no borders. There is, you can't control and regulate. Anything you cannot control and regulate is star 5. Can you regulate digital assets? You can't. It's regulated by, public, right? So that's the nature of star 5, okay? So it's not always a bad thing building star 5s. No, the annual star 5 might cause a problem, but the base star 5 as a 5 inside this particular area can indicate a person that possibly will be able to cross borders and generate wealth, okay? So this is very important for you to understand this. Okay, star 6. If you got star 6, this is those who are in financial industries, or people who make wealth on money through climbing the corporate ladder, a very high position, any C levels, COO, CEO, CFOs, these are normally star 6 positions. Or maybe in government, high-ranking government or civil servant is also star 6. Star 7 makes money from talking, speaking. If you are a YouTuber, influencer, right? If you are a someone who's nowadays who owns channels, right, and be able to mass influence people through your own social media, this is all star 7, okay? So how many of you got star 7 in your creation and wealth palace? It's how you create wealth, okay? Star 8 is generally a wealth star, yes, and it works through accumulation of wealth, okay? So what is accumulate? Compounding wealth. So if you are buying assets, this different than star 2. Star 2 is specifically properties and teaching. Star 8 is maybe you accumulate, maybe you compound, maybe you buy shares, maybe you hold equity in different businesses. It's entrepreneurial in nature, okay? Star 9 is different. Star 9, it's about fame, glory, superstar status. It's about, popularity. Okay, it's about basically being maybe a singer, a performer, or someone who's really, really famous. So it's branding, it's marketing, it's dazzling. So if star 9, you could be a superstar, right? Or maybe you go towards like that direction of turning yourself into a certain character for people to follow, right? Sometimes popularity and charisma is very important, right? So for some people, that branding, that superstar status actually bring them wealth, okay? So there's 9 different stars, and by the way, where these land on different palaces, they have different outcomes and meanings as well, okay? So it's basically a whole different era of understanding, the qualities of these 8 sectors when you combine them with this flying star method, okay? Now, it's not just looking at timeliness. Some will say, 5 is no good, 5 is no good. 5 is no good only when you're activated in a negative situation. Maybe it's in your trials and tribulations, for example, and you happen to have a door in that area. Now, of course, it's going to be a problem, right? But if not, it's absolutely fine. Okay, in fact, it's fine to have 5 in your career palace, as in your wealth and creation palace, because nowadays people want to decentralize everything, right? If you are someone who is into digital assets, then possibly the 5 is one of those levels. Now, I'm not saying the other stars are not great, okay, but it's just I see 5 very differently, especially we're moving towards period 9, where technology is the thing. If you have 9 in your creation and wealth palace, your work is also very timely. It's also one of those sectors, the time where your career is at the right place, right time. So we call it timeliness. The prosperous star. Star 1 is long term, right? If you ask which one of these is great for becoming a great investor, I would say either 9 or 1. 9 or 1 in the career, in the wealth creation palace, it's pretty good for those who are in investing full time. Okay, investing full time. So now you know. Now the numbers on the left also plays a role in the analysis of your creation and wealth palace. Okay. Now remember, the right side number governs the activities, right? Governs the type of job or career or roles or the fields, correct? Now the yin side represents your attitude towards your work, because that's the yin side, okay? So people say mountain star governs health. Health is only a broad picture. This is your mental attitude or behavior towards your wealth creation, okay? So of course, now this one you have to take note of the stars in a slightly different way, okay? We prefer to have, good attitude stars, such as star 1, star 8, star 9, star 6, star 4 in the left side of your career palace, or I would say career palace, it means your creation and wealth palace. Because these are generally timely stars or good-natured stars, so the person is motivated, driven. Like you have star 9 as your attitude star, and that means on the left side, left number is star 9. Then generally you will see that this person's positive attitude, happy person, right? Star 9 is a happy star. Okay, star 1 is a very noble and dignified star. Okay, it's nice to have it. Star 4 is educated. You are a thinker. You are smart. You analyze things. When you get star 2, for example, star 2 is a little bit boring, and star 2 always feel as a left side star, is a yin star, possibly always feel you're insufficient and not enough. Okay, it's always lacking. It's always, there's something more that you are not getting the full deal. Star 3, you're argumentative. If star 3 is the left number in your career palace, it's an argumentative. You always feel that you can't save money. You always feel that it's always a struggle and it's always a fight. You're hot-tempered natured when it comes to work. You're impatient. That's the nature of this number. So if you're star 5, this is the problem, right? If you're star 5 in your wealth creation palace, then you have to take note, because by attitude-wise, there could be a bit of a victim mentality, or you're scarcity driven. You see, star 5 as a right number is very different as a left number. Okay? In Feng Shui Academy, we explain left and right numbers very in detail, but here is a different focus, because this is micro Feng Shui. Okay, so in your chart, right, if your creation and wealth palace, the left number is 5, you might be approaching your career and business or your work from scarcity point of view, lack of instead of abundance. And always someone is there like trying to harm you, or you don't know, always feel this is your feeling, that the people might be out there to cheat you, they are dishonest, the economy is not good, the economy is against me, blah blah blah. And if you have star 6 is great. Star 6 is you're stable, okay, you're pretty much okay, but a bit too follow the rules, very principle centered, sometimes inflexible. Star 7, you talk too much, okay, or always involved in some form of arguments, dispute, or legal issues, or good partnerships end up with you bitching about that person bitch about you. Is always Star 2 is like basically arguments and discord. That's generally what it means. Star 8 basically too slow. As a left number, you're always too conservative. That's the problem, right? It's like, a career comes, you're scared, not taking action. This opportunity comes, maybe it's not for me. That sort of thing. Okay, but star 9, you're happy, right? Happy and cool. So as a left number is quite different, okay, for in the chart. Now, of course, you may be thinking, what's the base number for, right? The base number has a different reading, and normally we don't take that into consideration in this particular assessment, because the base number acts as a support to either the top right or top left number. So only in deep analysis of Xuan Kong flying stars that you consider that linkage in the center number. So you can safely discard looking at the center number. Just look at top right or top left. In fact, if you want to simplify the whole thing, just look at the top right number. Okay, let's look at an example here. So in this case here, you look at the person's chart. Okay, and you see there's a star 88 in the North Palace, okay, 88s, okay, 848. So what does that tell you? Well, in the creation and wealth, 8 represents compounding wealth, so it's steady income. This person can actually accumulate wealth through investments of purchasing equity in stocks, for example, or maybe index, right? Over time, make money. Slow and steady wins the race. Personality-wise, because of risk adverse. Why risk adverse? Because on the left side is star 8. So 8 is slow, right? Or conservative. So you can see in terms of career and investment style, it's a bit conservative. Okay, so this is one example. Let's just do another example here. Let's just say it has 4-3. Okay, 4-3. 4 as the top left and 3 as the top right number. So in terms of work, physical related work, movies, directors, sportsmanship, right? I would even classify construction workers, fitness instructors, yoga teachers, anything that requires physical type of work. It's the type of work that you could do. Well, let's look at this. The sitting star, or the left star, is star 4. What does that tell us? Academic, smart, well-researched, thinks a lot, though maybe sometimes overanalyze in terms of work, or prefers analysis work, prefers to have history, story, cultured approach in terms of the work. Okay, this is the attitude towards work. There you go. So you just have to combine the information together, and you possibly would find this meaning. Okay. So that's how you add the layering into this reading. And of course, if you are on the software, sometimes you can even do this, right? If you look at some of these auxiliary stars, check this out, okay? For this individual, based on the Pazi, this is the Sanhe method, he also has the Nobleman star, the Peach Blossom star, as well as the Prosperity star, all in the Creation Palace. This person has a pretty good career. Creation wealth and Creation Palace, plus the flying stars. Then you can tell the nature of work that is suitable or will prosper this individual. Now take note, every house that you move to, although the Creation and Wealth Palace is the same, but the star numbers are different. because you have a different building facing or maybe a different orientation that the stars change. Well, good thing is you can just get the Explorer and then plot in the degrees and the direction, and pop, you immediately know what the stars are, okay? Now, so instead of, guys, listen, instead of trying to mitigate the feng shui by putting items, all you have to do is adjust your career a little bit. Now you know, while living or working in this home or room or house, this is the field of work that will bring you the best returns, okay? And this is only the wealth creation palace, all right? There's still other palaces to talk about, okay? I hope you enjoyed this module, and in the next module, I'll be sharing with you how to read the health and well-being palace. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that module. Let's look at these questions. Wow. Nice. Thank you so much. I see your questions. I will probably expand. Guys, take down all these questions because we have to film the additional, and also when we're preparing the notes, right, for the topics, make sure the questions that they post are answered in the notes that we give to them. Okay. So yeah, I obviously can't. It's almost like 2 hours or more already. I think we have to. I can film one more module with which one we should talk about. I don't have to film the health and well-being palace first, guys. Spiritual palace. You guys want to know about spiritual palace? Spiritual palace. Okay, let's I've got so many sectors. I can be here whole day, right? Okay, let's talk about spiritual palace. I'll film it right now so you can learn that as well, and then you can. I think you can work out the rest on your own. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Go back the slides. There you go. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Joey up here, and welcome to the Feng Shui Life Force Energy Training Program. In this module, I will deep dive on the spiritual palace of your house. Now, every individual, based on their data that they key in, based on the Qua number or life star number, they always have a sector that is governed by the star called Chastity Star. Now, Chastity Star, in different forms of Feng Shui, such as 8 mansions, flying stars, or San Yuan or San He, different schools of Feng Shui, govern different vibrational frequencies, okay? So in your 8 mansions chart or your personal life star chart, it is known as in old days, it's called the 5 ghosts direction. Now, 5 ghosts sounds bad, right? I mean, 1 ghost is bad enough. You got 5 ghosts, I mean, come on, right? So, because in the old days, it depends on who is the writer for the system, right? Because 5 ghosts is a different name just to represent the 5 different realms or different type of energy fields. So they also have 5 different types of wealth gods and 5 different types of paths to wealth. So many different aspects, but 5 ghosts generally, basically, it's just the Chastity Star, the fire energy. Now, fire energy talks about, fire represents brightening, okay, brightening or enlightenment. So in a lot of, in metaphysics, or actually in spiritual practice, people light candles, they light joss sticks, they burn things, joss papers, all fire elements supposed to bring liberation, okay? It means freedom, liberation, and brighten up the darkness. It's symbolic of people who are in darkness are constantly in emotional pain. They are in a lot of drama. They don't see the truth. So fire element represents the truth, okay? But conversely, when this is not, functioning well, then a person can be, instead of being liberated and achieve freedom, that person can actually be blinded, right? A lot of times, not blinded physically, but they see the wrong thing. Some people, in the name of religion, they do a lot of stupid things, right or not? I mean, how many wars are started because of an excuse about religion? And a lot of times, bad politicians use this as an excuse to control people, right? To start hatred. So fire element can work both ways. That's why, for safety purposes, they just call it 5 ghosts and avoid using this sector. That's the old days. But really, you must understand the nature is just fire element. Suppose you use this well. Suppose you understand the energies well and you use this area well. You can actually have spiritual, epiphanies, right? You could gain clarity. You understood, right and wrong. You understood the truth. You see the truth for how life is. You gain wisdom. So spiritual practice is not just, do magic all the time, but it's a sector where, how deep is your understanding of life? You understood life. You live a well-lived life. You experience all, emotions of life. You've gone through that and you enjoyed your life. Okay, so this is the spiritual palace. Now, of course, in the most layman level, it can represent, some form of mystical practice. It can represent, your inner dimensions, your inner world, your spiritual world, right? So if you're one of those who really are into spiritual healing, energy healing, or mediumship, talk to spirits and all that, you like to see entities or access that realm, then this is the palace that governs that. But of course, there are, different criteria, okay? Different criteria. So what are the criteria? Well, now go back to the explorer. I'm just going to use this example here for easy reference. Suppose this is a lifestyle 4 person, the spiritual palace will be in the southwest, or the 5 ghost direction is in the southwest, okay? So what you need to do is you're going to plot a chart. So let's just say now you're looking at someone from the perspective of a landed property this time. Now again, in the Explorer, you can choose landed or high rise, okay? Let's just say you choose a landed property, and right now this will be facing, let's just make it easy, facing south 2, and main door sector, okay, let's just put the main door as a southeast area, doesn't matter, and you moved into this period, you moved in the last 3 years, 4 years ago, so it's period 8, okay? Easy peasy. Okay, let's just make it more interesting. Let's say you moved in period 7, right? So you plot a period 7 chart, okay, facing to south 2. So you click on plot chart, your chart comes out. Okay, so now you have the natal chart, your house natal chart. You click here and immediately you will see the distribution of numbers inside each sector. So this, your spiritual palace, if you zoom in, you will clearly see that it is 6-8, base number 4, but 6-8. So left side number 6, right side number 8. All right. Now, so what can you tell? Now, of course, for a spiritual palace, the left number, which is your attitude, your inner feelings, your thoughts, it's more important than the right number, because right number is activities, okay? So look at the left numbers. So now remember, the nature of this palace is fire element. The nature of this whole palace, spiritual palace, all belongs to fire, okay? Everyone's spiritual palace belongs to fire. Some fires are stronger, some fires are weaker, but let's see, all right? So in the numbers here can tell different things. If you have a star 1 in this area, okay, a left number. Now again, I like to focus on the left number here because it represents your inner world, represents your inner feelings, your attitude towards spiritual practice, okay? Star 1 is honorable. It is. It's a very, very good star to have. However, you have to understand, star 1 is water by nature, okay? And water is flexible, it's emotional, it's a little bit, formless, all right? So that also will reflect in your perspective and pursuit of your spiritual practice, okay? It's a bit formless. You might not be sticking to 1 or 2 systems. You might have multiple systems. Might be a little bit confused too because water moves in different directions, all right? If you have star 2, it's a little bit different. Star 2 is, the nature of the star 2 is earth element, okay? So fire produces earth, and earth is unyielding, okay? Earth is unyielding. So which means you pursue this path over time, there might be stagnancy. There might be approach to being very dogma in your approach to spiritual practice, okay? Although you love teaching, your star 2 is like a great teacher. It's like, very nurturing by nature. You probably like to teach what you know. If you have a star 3 nature in your spiritual palace, it's probably a very good combination to have 3 and 4 is very good actually, because this is wood producing fire. So this is about brightness, okay? This is about spreading the word, and very actively. The difference is one spreads through very physical, movements, creating a cult-like following, because star 3, it's basically, loud and disruptive. So you will have maybe a new way of presenting your thoughts and pursuit of this. You're active in it. Star 4 is academic. So 4 in the spiritual palace on the left number creates a more academic approach. You like to read about it, study it, do research, write about it. So it's different. Now 5 in the spiritual palace, this is quite interesting because 5 itself is also a chastity star. So this is very much amplified. And it could go both ways. You could be really, really powerful and influential in terms of your spiritual practice, or you could be a bit more crazy and extreme when it comes to spiritual pursuits, and it sort of dominates your life. Some people, let's say, they're going to some form of restrictions, they become celibates, right? They don't do this, they restrict themselves from doing that, they can't do this, can't do that, or it's a bit extremist in that field, okay? If in a good way, it creates breakthrough. In a bad way, is extremeness. Like, some people who I've seen, they don't even eat. They look at, what do you call that? Sun gazers, right? They gaze at the sun because they actually believe that the sun has energy through their eyes or something, right? So there's there's a different approach, and that's quite extreme, okay? But when directed in a positive way, that means your formation in the house is nice, the achievement chart in this area is also good. You could be a very influential spiritual leader. Okay, star 6 as the left star in the spiritual palace can indicate your approach is very much principled. You follow the rules. It's old school. You are strict, right? That's the nature of star 6. Star 7, you probably talk too much. Okay, it's the nature is you talk, you like to discuss, you like to debate, spiritual matters, or you like to talk about it. That's the nature of star 7. Star 8 is quite a safe approach. Okay, safe approach, steady, conservative by nature. In fact, it's one of the better ones. In fact, this type of you actually practice it and practice what you preach, and you achieve good results. 8 is always steady. If it's star 9, this is real blissful happiness. Okay, that means your spiritual practice is bringing you enlightenment and bliss and happiness. Okay, so this is a great number to have. All right. Now, of course, conversely on the right side, now you have to be careful a little bit here. Right side is activities. Okay, always remember, right side is the yang number, activities. When spiritual palace meet the activities is what you actually do. What you translate internally and what you actually do is two different things, So if you have a money star like star 8 in there, your spiritual practice actually might be related to money. Now, of course, some people don't relate spiritual with money, but maybe you can actually make money through spiritual practice. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but wealth star is star 8, okay? Star 9, you can bring happiness to other people, okay? If you're spreading the fire, spreading your thoughts and your influence. Star 1 as the right star. Now, this is a bit challenging when it comes to spiritual activities, because always remember, 1 is water element. It is a good star, but as your personal spiritual direction, there's conflicting practice. What you believe in and what you practice might be a little bit of a conflict. Okay, so it's star 2 as the wealth star for spirit, as the activity star. Can indicate that you do become a big guru, a teacher, or influencer in this field. If you are star 3, it's too much activities, okay? This is not a good star I wouldn't prefer to have this star in the spiritual palace, because your actions are a bit more hostile or maybe aggressive for other people, or maybe you're actually doing the opposite thing because this is argumentative, all right? Star 4, you practice through writing, teaching, and in the nature of maybe you actually write about it, or maybe you like to pursue the information. You travel to different places. By the way, stars 4 and 6 are traveling stars. So maybe you go to different places for pilgrimage and rituals or refuge, you know. So that's what star 4 nature is like. Star 5 is basically you probably spend too much money on spiritual practice. All right, because as a left side star, which governs money and activities, maybe you go broke doing spiritual practice and spiritual pursuits. Star 6 is very rigid, and it's a conflicting element when it comes to the spiritual palace, because fire counters metal. So you'll find that maybe your spiritual practice or your religion is possibly giving you too much restrictions, and you're probably not too happy about it. There's internal turmoil, okay? Some people, the more they do prayers, the more turmoil they get, okay? Everything is just God this and God that, and everything is God, or Buddha said this, Buddha said that. Now you cannot eat vegetables, you cannot eat garlic, you cannot eat this, you cannot do that. It's like, it's too many rules, right? So 7 arguments, disputes, as in the spiritual palace on the right activity, it can lead to a lot of heated debates. Right, star 8, you don't talk enough, right? It's a wealth star, okay? So basically, from spiritual matters, you could actually bring in wealth and money. Star 9 is spreading the art, spreading the world, okay? So many ways you can interpret this, okay? So I hope that this simple format can show you how you can interpret a spiritual palace, okay? Now, don't forget, every technique has also got a small Tai Chi version of this, so you can actually deploy this even on a small sector. Okay, so you could have different types of stars that are in that sector. For example, in this chart here, you could see that the southwest is your spiritual palace, and it's also your Tai Chi nobleman. Now, that means your Tai Chi nobleman, it's a gift on mystical powers or intuitive spiritual abilities, and it's also in your spiritual palace, which means that you're gifted in this field. So, and plus you have, let's say star 8, star 9 there, you can really convert that into your career, your work, your life's work that influences the masses. So, or change lives, you know. So, it's a very interesting way to see Feng Shui. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed learning about the spiritual palace. In the next module, I'll share with you another one of these palaces in relation to the flying star chart. Okay, guys, that was the spiritual palace. I don't think we have time to look through all the... Good take. All right, okay. So, all right. It's a long day, right? It's a long day. So, we will be going through... I will go through the questions that some of you guys have. What about social charisma palace? I can see that. What if star 8 is there? What about trials and tribulations? If star 5, is it a bad thing? There's always good and bad, but there's also mitigation, guys. I want to be focusing on... I will film the rest, obviously, for the class, and there will be notes not for here. Here, there's no notes, yeah? Here's like, you're the fly on the wall, remember? No notes, yeah? The notes will be prepared when the class is actually done. It takes time, okay? We haven't got anything yet. The team hasn't started writing, but we will start writing. And we will do as much as we can. But thanks to the questions, we now know what people would love about the course, because we're going to answer those questions as part of the training program. I think this is it's a win-win for us as well. It helps the tribe, you guys, and it helps us developing one of the best Feng Shui programs ever. Okay, did I miss out anything?
There are a couple, but I think we will include those into the notes instead.
Okay,
yeah,
so...
very graphical, those stuff.
Okay. All right. So now here's the thing. All right. So you guys stayed for the live stream today, and you guys stayed all the way. So the special surprise giveaway would be 3 desktop calendars signed by me personally. Okay. So you know the desktop calendar. I know it's mid-February, but you can still use it. All right. It has all the daily directions and all the daily energies that you could use. How many of you would like a free calendar? Come on. All right. You like a free calendar? All right. So here's what you need to do within the next 1 hour. Okay. So because you just watched it, this our training today. What is the key epiphany, your aha moment in learning this? Okay. If you can write, not to say, oh, I like this. Okay. Tell me what is the epiphany? What is the aha moment in today's lessons that you have learned that you think you could benefit, that could help you when you practice your Feng Shui? And this time you got to go to Telegram and share your key takeaways. Okay, you share your key takeaways and I will pick the winner from there, and then we'll arrange for one of these calendars to be sent to you. There will be 3 of this, okay? So it's 3, yeah? So you just write the nicest one, long and juicy, and show me that, you know, that you really learned something, and then I'll get my team to send you a calendar, okay? Well, thank you so much. Now, tomorrow, what you learn today in the lessons, obviously I'll be filming the rest in detail. It takes a lot of time. Tomorrow will be applications. How do you actually apply this when you set up your home, or when you set up your room, or when you go to, you know, in your workspace, right? How do you actually use this in a very unique way? The application will seriously be mind-blowing for you, okay? So tomorrow, you know, start fresh, make sure you have enough rest, and I'm going to show you exactly how the application is. For example, in relationships, right? How do you actually deploy this in a relationship? The different scenarios in relationship, or if you're deploying this for health matters, for wealth matters, right? Or if you're doing this on an investment perspective, how do you use this stuff, right? Tomorrow, okay? So get ready. Your questions, continue to send in. Tomorrow I'll start by answering some of these questions, and I think I'll divide it between tomorrow and the last day. My itinerary, as you know, is continuously changing, and I think application probably stretch until day 4, okay? Because I thought I'm going to do only 10 modules, but it looks like each of these is already 1 module, so there'll be 8 modules altogether just on explaining each of the palaces together with flying stars. A lot of people want to know how to combine these two, but combining is one thing. Applying in real life is a totally different thing. I think application is much more fun. Okay, guys? All right, then I shall see you tomorrow, same time. Okay?